Good morning. Thanks for joining me on the live this morning. I've got a special guest here with me. I've got Dusty Rhodes. He has Wild Wire Equine. He does transport and rides a lot of young horses. And we're going to talk today. And I just put him on Bug. He's never been on this horse before, and he's been on it, 30 seconds maybe?
Maybe.
so you're going to see how quick he adapts. We're going to talk about, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll go from there.
Dusty Rhodes, Wild Wire Equine Services. Also have a YouTube channel. I do ride foundation. I set the foundation for him to set his foundation. He wrote an article about that recently. I highly recommend. I live in Seguin, Texas. That's where I train. I transport out of. I also do nationwide transport. So any transport needs, definitely let me know.
So he brought a horse to me yesterday, and when he told me he was bringing a horse, I said, while you're here, let's do a video together. And then he said, all right, what do you want to talk about? And I said, I don't know. What do you want to talk about? It's kind of like husband and wife talking about what are we going to eat for supper. And that's kind of how our conversation went.
He was the wife.
Yeah. And then yesterday evening, we got a horse out and just kind of played around and had a conversation and we're going to talk about just kind of how an advanced horse feels. If you've never ridden an advanced horse, you really don't know what you're working towards. It's kind of like a map. If you don't know where you're going, you don't know how to get there. And I think he rode a horse and felt some things that was pretty different. I want him to tell you about that.
Big.
And just kind of talk about the feel, because how the horse feels is so big. It's so big to me. I can get on a horse and feel that horse, and within just a couple of minutes have a pretty good idea what I think I can do with that horse. And I had another thought that I was going to say, and it just left me. And lost my whole train of thought now. But anyways, we're going to talk about kind of how an advanced horse feels. And Dusty's he rode a horse yesterday that was kind of different. I wanted him to tell you about what that was like. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Legends owner came and rode him a few weeks ago, and he couldn't get over how that horse had such a different feel when he was sitting on the horse. And I don't really know that part of feel. I don't really know how to describe it. It's like a connection, a willingness that the horse has developed, and it's built from using your legs, using your hands, exactly like I talk about. The slow, steady 5-second rule, gradually increase your pressure, that kind of thing. And it just kind of develops with a good horse. Anything you want to add to that?
So just piggybacking off of that, the feel that I felt yesterday, just as an example, was putting the legs on, just for an example, leaving the legs on and using, we talked about yesterday, pressure. You've got, a half pound of pressure just riding forward. And then when you want more, you go up to, let's say, 3 or 4 pounds of pressure. With an advanced horse, it's far less pressure. There, some people call it feely or light, whatever you want to call it, but I have to ask less to get what I want because the horse has a very good idea of what I'm asking. When I asked a couple times yesterday, when I asked what I thought I was asking for, the horse had no idea, because I'm used to asking a little bit heavier in a different way, because I'm trying to teach a horse how to walk forward, for example. Whereas Tim gets that foundation. He's got to teach the horse to go forward in a different way, lighter, more responsive. He's looking for response. I'm looking for, did the horse get it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really, really good way to put it. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. It's pretty chilly this morning. I think we were right at freezing this morning, maybe a little under. And but we're supposed to get up to mid 60s today. I think you said it's supposed to get up to what at home today?
It was 79 yesterday, and Seguin is supposed to be almost 70 today.
Yeah,
It's not 70 right now, I promise.
it's not 70 here either. I've got my heated vest on, and I got here this morning, and then I thought I went off and left my stocking cap, and then got here and realized I left it here instead of at home. So got my stocking cap to keep my ears warm. I am on Hammer. This is the horse that was with a level 4 futurity trainer, and got pushed a little too hard, too quick. Now he's here. I'm kind of rehabbing him back into the show pen. All his buttons are there. Just kind of getting his mind better for showing. And he's on Bug. Been on Bug for maybe a couple of minutes now, but most of that's been sitting still right there. And so he's going to have to kind of figure Bug out. And Bug is one of those kind of horses that she'll give you everything she's got if she thinks you know how you're asking. Typical mare thing. So he's going to have to kind of work through with that. And we're going to also discuss our reins a little bit. We had a long discussion yesterday with split reins, how to hold them, why. He's used to riding young horses two-handed because that's how you ride young horses. And we're riding more advanced horses. You usually ride with one hand, and then you're swapping back and forth. Fixed with two hands, back to one hand, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm riding with Rommel, so you can see what that's like. All of my beginner students are always put them riding with Rommels. That gets their body, it gets their shoulders a little bit more square, gives the off hand something to hold, and what you're doing with your hand is a lot simpler. You're riding a little bit more like a joystick, and you hold your hand up like an ice cream cone. You never dump your ice cream out of your ice cream cone. Always up this way, and with your fingers closed. If your fingers are open, that's your judge is going to look at that to make sure you don't DQ. You always want to keep your fingers closed, no fingers between the reins. With those, you're allowed to have your index finger between the reins, and the reins should be falling down on the side of the hand that you're riding with. We typically ride with your non-dominant hand because it's normally doing less than what your dominant hand would do. A lot of people that didn't start off with instruction, they ride with their dominant hand, and then they end up pulling with it, but they also end up balancing with it too. And that creates a whole different set of issues. Just us general as people, we use our upper body for balance. We use it kind of muscle things with our arms. And that's why we use our non-dominant hand, because that hand does less than what our dominant hand is. And we're working towards that quieter communication, that little bit more instinctual type riding, working towards that. Anything you had to add to that?
And riding younger horses, you'll find that you ride more with your dominant hand because you're more confident with it. A problem that comes with that is if my dominant hand is my right hand, which it mostly is, I find that when I go to make a correction on a horse, I always turn to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to be able to go left and right. And so it's important, kind of like you can left foot brake. Learn to left foot brake because it might save your life one day.
Mm-hmm.
Riding with another hand could save your life. It could save your horse. It could save you from a big wreck because you've got to be able to steer with both hands at some point in your life. If you only go with your dominant hand, you'll find that you're always doing things to that dominant side, and it leaves out that non-dominant side.
Yeah, and building from that, I get quite a few horses in that have been ridden by owners so much on their dominant hand, with their dominant hand, bracing with that hand, that horse is in a perpetual right curve because he's used to having that hand to lean on.
Yes, sir.
And that is real hard to fix with a horse. You need to be able to ride on the loose rein. I get some English riders in once in a while to give them lessons, and I always make them ride on the buckle because they're so used to balancing in their on the horse's mouth. And Western riders will do it too. I just see it a lot with English riders. And you've got to be able to give that horse's head to work with you. Now, when you give the horse's head, he's going to fall out of frame, and that creates some stuff with the horse that you got to fix. But you have to fix you so you're not holding that horse's head before you can do that with the horse. That's why I say a green rider with a green horse is not a good fit. Not only from the dangerous standpoint, but from that standpoint, you're creating some stuff. You're learning how to ride, which is not good for the horse. And then the horse is, because he don't know how to carry himself, he's doing some things that's not good for you.
Because we're always, anytime you're with the horse, you're training a horse, no matter what you're doing, feeding or whatever. And if you're riding and doing the things that Tim's talking about, you're doing something that's detrimental to the horse's learning what to do. And that's why green and green just don't work, because you're teaching it bad habits. You're teaching it your bad habits. So coming and riding with a trainer, I wanted to hit on this real quick. This is hugely important. Go ride with other people that are better than you. Okay, that know more than you, that you can learn off of, that you can ask questions. I must have asked him 100 questions within 30 seconds yesterday, and one kept popping up in my mind every time. And Tim, being the guy that he is, you know him because you watched the live, he was answering each question, and it rolled right into another question and another question. Put yourself out there. Be willing to embarrass yourself. I think we talked about that last week. Last week. Go embarrass yourself. I say embarrass because you're not. You're learning. That's how we learn. And the best way to get better is to learn from somebody better. We go to school. We have a teacher that went to 10 years of college, whatever, how much drinking they did during college. They know more than you, and you learn from them. Okay. I'm getting out here. I haven't ridden a horse on Bugs level in it's been a while. Well, yesterday, but putting yourself out there to learn from it, and then taking that, when I go back to Seguin, I'm going to be better because I'm here right now. It worked out great, like you said, but put yourself out there. I'm not here to show him what I know. I'm here to get what he knows, and then to put it into practice down the road. And then later on, I might text him and say, okay, Tim, I did what you said and I'm screwing it up. This is what I'm doing. How can it help? Use those experienced riders. They are a boon of knowledge, and they'll help you advance yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a group of trainer friends, and we're always talking and asking questions. Me and Dusty talks. Rob Huddleston up in North Mississippi. We just had a conversation yesterday about horse running straight. He had a kind of a light bulb moment that worked for him, and he called me on the phone and said, "Hey, look, this worked for me. You might want to think about it." Yep. And that's how we learn. That's how we get better. And I think a lot of non-pro riders, beginner riders, they're kind of in their little bubble, in their little world. And put yourself out there, and we all get better.
Absolutely. That's, again, it's the teacher and the student. You're not out there to embarrass yourself. You're not out there to show what you know. You're out there to get what they know.
Any questions or anything so far we need to cover, or comments?
They just want to know what Dusty's channel is.
At Wild Y Equine Services. I don't know. Usually you have to do a capital letter with each word. I don't know if you have to do that. Try it both ways, but it should pop up from there.
You probably can search it. Wild
Yes,
Y
sir.
Equine. Probably can search it in the search bar and find it. YouTube went through this change a while back. So all of our channels used to be like a string of numbers and characters.
Yep.
And we would have our channel name, but it was actually on their end, it was just a string of numbers and characters. And it's been, I don't know, 2 years ago where we were actually able to change those numbers and characters to our actual channel name. And I don't know if you were able to do that or. or
When I
not.
came in and created mine, it was already
It was
to where
already
you
that
could
way.
make your own name. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because mine was just a string of numbers and characters for a long time. And it didn't make any sense.
The
I'm
code.
glad that's one of the things that YouTube worked out. Anything that we touched on yesterday you think we need to be a good topic to bring up?
Rain management. And I brought that up there yesterday. You hit on the Ramels and how to use them and how it keeps your body straight. Talk about the split reins.
So with split reins, the tail is going to hang down on the side that you're riding with, and you're going to ride with your knuckles up, and you're allowed to have either one or no fingers between the reins. All right, now turn your hand around. You have your hand this way. Turn it like you're pointing. There you go.
There we go. Yep.
And the reins are gonna. There you go. That's it. And you want to not be doing this with your wrist. There's a lot easier to make mistakes to start trying to do this with split reins than it is with Ramels. Ramels is simple. Hold your ice cream cone, ride like a joystick, and that's why all of my he keeps backing up.
Yeah.
That's why I put all of my beginner riders in Ramels. And so split reins is a little bit more management. Your tail's going to hang down, either no fingers between the reins or your index finger. And if you grab with your other hand and you're showing, it's a DQ. If you put another finger between the reins, it's going to be a DQ. So that's generally how you're going to ride. And
When you start with split reins, do you automatically have them start in the correct position, or do you let them use two fingers to get comfortable and then do you
no,
transition?
I make them in the correct position, because if I don't, they create a habit, and eventually that habit is going to make them DQ at some point.
Okay.
I had a student one time, he was riding correct, but what was happening, he was actually holding tight with his left leg. That was where the problem was. But when he would steer that way, the horse wasn't going that way. He was steering fine, but the problem was the leg is blocking the door. So he was over here and the horse wasn't going. He was reaching around with his pinky and grabbing that rein and pulling the horse around. And I kept telling him, don't do that. Don't do that. You're creating a bad habit. And sure enough, one day he did it in a show in DQ. So we tried, everything I do when I ride, I try to make it legal to show, because I don't want to create any bad habits that's just going to automatically pop up somewhere and then bite me in the butt and cause a problem.
Start the good habit right from the
Start the
start.
good habit right from the beginning.
Okay.
And we talked about yesterday, when you're riding a horse, you're riding him two-handed. He's ready to start going one-handed, but you can't just swap one-handed. A lot of people, when they're riding two-handed, they cross their reins over, and then you have your reins like this. So when you have a horse that you're starting to give him a try one-handed, you'll go ahead and put your reins like that one-handed, and then what you'll do, riding one-handed, you'll grab your reins, slide this hand down, and then pull them apart. And then pull them apart.
Oh, yeah. He taught me this yesterday, so I'm still not good at it. Oop.
You should have both tails in your left hand. Now
Okay.
get back right. All right, now grab just the reins in your right hand. There you go. Now take that left hand, grab your left rein. Nope, no, don't let go of the tail.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
There you go. And then that way you're able to swap to two-handed, fix whatever you want to fix, and then drop right back to one-handed again. Keep the tails in your left hand instead of your right hand next time.
Hold on.
There you go. Now keep the tails in your left hand. Now keep the tails in your left hand.
Yeah.
Grab your left rein. There. And then by keeping the tails in your left hand right there, that's the middle of your reins. That when you drop back, you drop that loop that's going to your right hand and drop the loop that's going to your left hand, your reins are going to be even. So do that again, and I'm going to show you something. All right. Now, hold your tail, but drop both reins, but don't let go of the tail. All right. Your reins are still even.
Interesting.
If they were even to start with, they were even there, because that keeps your reins even when you're going back. Takes practice.
Yes, it does.
It takes practice. And you have a horse that let's say you're loping circles on and you're trying to lope him around one-handed and you lose body, he kind of inverts his body. You might need to swap to two-handed, fix his body, and then go back one-handed again. Because if you never ride one-handed, the horse will never become a one-handed horse. And it's not like the horse wakes up one day and say, okay, I'm ready for you to ride one-handed. It'd be nice if they did, but it just don't work that way. And that's why a lot of people end up riding two-handed all their life, because they just can't figure out what to do with the reins.
And again, that practice is rein management is huge, because you're communicating through the mouth, attached from the reins to the bit, to the mouth, to the brain, to the feet. So it's a communication loop, and it all starts with your hands and knowing what to do. That's a great tip right there. What about Makati reins? What are some tips on Makati reins?
It's basically the same thing. You just don't have a tail. Usually with Makati reins, what I'll do is I'll take the ends and bring them together, slide down, and then separate.
Slide down and then
separate.
And create the bridge.
Yeah, to create a bridge. Yeah, and then you just do the same thing opposite to give them a little bit of slack, because in Makati reins you're basically either just shortening or lengthening.
Yes, sir. Okay.
I'm gonna walk some. You can stand still. I'm gonna walk some circles. His feet are. He got happy feet. You got a question we need to answer?
Yeah, the air one, what rein should I use when I start my colt? Rope reins or split leather reins?
You do the start and you answer that.
I go in actually, and I'm doing this right now. I guess they're called barrel reins, the short Makati looking reins.
Yeah, the short loop reins.
Because I want to be able to get control of that colt right away in case they're doing something stupid or something they don't know. I'm trying to teach them. I need to be right there. If you get Makati reins, they might be too long and you're worried about messing with how much rein you have. I don't recommend split reins. The barrel
unless
reins,
you're really experienced with.
Yes, sir. And even then, I found, and this is just the way that I do it, I found that I can communicate better with Makati reins. I've got the reins in my hand, but I've also got the end where if I need to motivate them to go a little bit, and I've got a horse in right now like that, I've got to motivate them. So it gives me a tail so that I can over and under if I need to.
Another question? Okay, how do you progress to neck reining if you've always ridden two-handed? Well, if you are riding correctly two-handed, your horse still should be neck reining, because your inside rein controls the bend. It controls the direction the horse is facing. But that's all that it does, is control the bend. If I want to go to the left, it's the neck rein that's asking that horse to go. So if your horse is not neck reining, it's not because of riding two-handed. It's because you're not putting that rein on and asking that horse to go that direction. Anything you got to add to that?
Riding two hands, both hands need to be doing something, which is exactly what he was alluding to. If I'm turning left, I'm asking a horse to turn left, and I cue with my left hand. You can see that Bug just went that way, but my right hand needs to be doing something. We're also using it to rate speed, but also you're laying it over the neck on the right-hand side, and that's the start of your neck reining. You should be doing that from the very start when you're teaching a horse to turn. So yeah, that each hand needs to be doing something. You're riding two hands for a reason. Use them both. Figure out how to use them both.
Yeah,
Makes sense?
exactly. And my train of thought, if I'm on a really, really green horse just starting out, I'm going to go to my direct rein first. But once the horse is kind of soft and kind of has a general idea, I'm going to ask for the neck rein first. And
It's-
at first, it's not going to happen, but you ask, add a little lag, add a little direct rein, and eventually that horse will just start getting off that neck.
And I actually start earlier, and this is something that I'd like you to hit on also, is how different trainers do things differently, but they get the same result and they're looking for the same result. Is I try to go to my outside rein first to the neck and then ask, because I'm laying that foundation for that horse to know if I'm turning right and I lay that left rein on their neck, instead of having to go to my inside rein, my right rein, they're automatically going to go, I know what's coming next, I'm going that way. And it's worked for me.
Yeah, no,
I've
that's
done it both ways.
yeah, that's exactly fine. That's exactly right. In most of this stuff, uh, two different trainers can do two different things, but that doesn't mean that either one is right and the other one is wrong. We all get to the same point, and I think the reason that works for me is because I do so much of the bend counter bend exercise.
Yes.
And that probably makes up for what I'm losing by not asking for the neck rein first. I think that makes up for that. And it's how my program is built. He has his program that he works with. Neither is right or wrong. It's just what we do. And the program will kind of adjust. It'll change depending on the horse. Some horses, I'll adjust my program a little bit depending on what the horse is wanting to do. That's why I've never done a colt starting series, because you have to have all the pieces.
Oh Lord, yes.
But you're not necessarily going to teach them in the same order.
Yes, sir.
If you have a horse that has just, this is very basic, but it'll get you the idea. If you have a horse that has a lot of go, you're not going to be teaching go right off the bat. You're going to be teaching stop.
Yep.
And if you have a horse that has a lot of stop, you're going to be teaching go. And that's basic, but it's a lot the same. It's the idea.
So important is if you get stuck in, I'm an ABC learner. Go to A, go to B, go to C. But then I learned when dealing with horses, sometimes you've got to go to A, then B, and you might have to go back to A to get to C.
Yes.
You've got to be able to adjust to what the horse needs, exactly what Tim was talking about, and not what you need. Okay. If I do it, A, B, C, D, E, I may never progress past E because I'm stuck at E because the horse doesn't know what to do, or I'm stuck at F, or I'm, kind of trying to get across is do what the horse needs when the horse needs it, not what you need and when you need it.
Exactly. That's a lot of people get stuck there. Any other questions? Okay, you want to talk about that first?
I didn't hear it. I'm sorry.
Okay, and talking about rein weight, kind of how weight affects feel, how it affects what do you like? I'm very specific about that, but I want to hear what he has to say.
I'm not as refined as like these are heavy reins to me, but they feel good. And I'm used to using the Macatis. I do have a personal horse that I ride in split reins, but they're a lighter rein. Because she's a little more refined in quotation marks. I can ask with less with her. With the performance horse, I'll let Tim cover that. But if I can ask with less, it starts with the weight of the rein and the hand. So if I can lay 1 ounce on Bug's right neck and get her to do what I need, we're good to go. But if to me, weight is a tool, I guess I should say.
Yeah. My answer is going to build off of that answer. Actually,
go for it. Go. Yeah.
So he said those reins feel heavy to him for her. Well, that bit that I grabbed, that is one of the first bits that I put on a horse when they're learning to ride in a leverage bit. And in that case, I'm going to need to pull a little bit more. So I want a little bit more rein to help that pull. So those are 5/8 diameter and weighted on the ends. Now, normally what I ride her in is a 3/8 inch rein, so it's going to be smaller, it's going to be lighter. I can give a little bit more refined cues. And I have specific reins that I ride with specific bits because those bits are dependent on what stage that horse is in at the time, and this rein matches that bit. So that's why I have a heavier rein on that bit.
So go into what we talked about, the bit, where the reins are and how they make, when they make contact, what it tells the horse and so forth.
Good idea. So every leverage bit, you have the chin strap set, and that bit is going to rotate a certain amount before you really feel the contact. But what happens, that bit's rotating, that horse is going to feel it before you feel it. And that's why when you put your hand down, most of the time you think you're out of that horse's mouth, but you're not, because you haven't put your hand down enough for that bit to rotate into neutral. So that's why you can feel like you're riding with no contact on a loose rein, but actually that bit is rotated, it's engaged. Even if the chin strap hasn't engaged, there's some rotation there, and that horse can feel it. And normally, like that bit right there, I have it set so it's going to rotate probably close to 60 degrees before that chin strap makes contact, because that's one of the bits I use when I'm first starting to teach leverage. Now, as the horse advances, I'm going to have the chin strap engaged with about 45 degrees of rotation, because I'm not going to need to give the horse as much signal that the contact is coming when the horse gets further along and further refined. And that's how I kind of, so if you leave a horse in a bit like that with 60 degrees of rotation, then the horse is never kind of made to progress. He's never, he knows where that contact is going to come. So he might wait until that contact gets there before he actually responds. Well, if I start saying, okay, at 45 degrees, I want something, the horse is going to be like, I need to try a little harder. And I'm always looking, when I'm advancing the horse, I want that horse to give me a little try a little harder, see what I can get.
What's the difference? Okay, now put the different bits and the chin strap and where it makes contact between a snaffle bit or a correction bit and so forth. Talk about that.
So with the snaffle bit, the chin strap just pretty much just keeps you from pulling the snaffle bit through the horse's mouth. It really doesn't do anything. If you have the chain is the point of the lever. When you engage the chain, that's the, I can't remember what that's actually called, but that's the middle of your lever from your hand to the horse's mouth, to the pole pressure. And that's when the leverage action actually starts. And the distance between the mouthpiece and the chain and the mouthpiece and the bottom of the bit, that's your leverage points that increases or decreases the leverage on the mouth. I'm usually, that's pretty much my standard bit. It's probably 1.5 inches between the mouthpiece and the chain, and I think that's probably a 5-inch shank. I don't change that leverage very much unless I have a pole-resistant horse. If I have a pole-resistant horse, I'm still going to keep the chain close to the same place, but I'm going to add purchase, which means I'm going to bring the chain up from the mouthpiece. And by doing that, I'm going to be putting more contact on the horse's pole, and that helps with pole resistance. If you have a bit that has a cathedral, you're going to want that chin strap to engage before that cathedral gets too much rotation. You don't want that cathedral to rotate all the way up forward in that horse's mouth and that chin strap never engage. So you need the chin strap to engage sooner. I might even have it engaged with 30 degrees of rotation if I have a real tall cathedral, so that it engages and that cathedral does what it's supposed to do up to the horse palate of the roof of the horse's mouth.
So that got kind of in the weeds. But that,
yeah,
but,
a lot of my answers do.
But that's the details, what we talked about this morning, the details in the details.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about trying to get to a horse's brain and get that your idea from the brain to the feet, there's a lot that goes into it. It's not
There
just
is.
your hand, put your hand here and put this leg here and giddy up. You've got to understand the sequence of events that are happening in order to understand how to do it better.
Yeah.
Does that make
yeah,
sense?
very true. Very true. And my answer might have probably made more questions than it answered. But
But
that's-
it goes into the details.
yes. Yeah.
You know, that horsemanship is ever learning. I mean, every single day, different horses, different bits, different bridles. The freaking gates have 1,000 different latches to them. You know, there's 1,000 different bits. There's different saddles. There are different trees on the saddles. There's different leg protectors. It just
Yeah.
the details. Try not to get overwhelmed by them. Concentrate on one subject that you're asking about, and once you understand it, then move on, because you will get drowned in details if you try to drink from a
Exactly.
fire hose.
And I see so many people that get stuck in those details when they just need to go trot their horse around and just kind of learn how to sit the trot.
What was it you just wrote about? Go ride the horse.
Go ride the horse.
You
Yep.
have to,
exactly.
at some point, you've got to ride the horse
Yep.
and not become mechanical.
Yep. Exactly. Any other questions? Are we caught up?
I wanna know, can you do a bend and counter bend one-handed?
You can. So I was telling him yesterday, when I ride with Ramels, I'm practically riding two-handed. So I have him in a counter bend, still in a legal handhold. I slip my rein. Now let's go to a bend. Now we have a bend, and I'm still one-handed.
And let me tell you, if you're looking at that on the camera, you probably think, oh, he's straight. I'm looking at it from, 15 feet away, and the difference was a couple inches on the
A
head.
couple of inches.
That's
It
all it
doesn't take a
was.
lot. And the more advanced the horse becomes, the less I actually want. Because when you have a horse that's kind of stiff and you're trying to break loose, I'm going to get him pretty broke loose. I'm going to bend him around. But then as that horse progresses, I just need a little bit to accomplish this thing. I just need your shoulder to go that way a little bit, because it's manage your pennies and the dollars take care of himself.
Nice.
Let's get that shoulder over there just a little bit and let's see what happens. I'm not going to ask for some big bend with a real finish. See, he's kind of confused with that much bend, because we don't do anything that has a whole lot of bend. I just need a little bit. I just need enough touch with the outside of the horse's mouth, and that's what it breaks down to. I'm just touching the outside of his mouth to get a certain thing happen. And the outside of the horse's mouth is connected to his hind inside leg. And as the horse progresses, that counter bend actually becomes a signal, anchor your inside hind leg. It progresses into that. So you can get it done one-handed. I practice, if I'm loping around and I have a horse that's progressing into one-handed, I'm going to try to develop everything that I can possibly develop to fix one-handed, because I might be loping a pattern and I would think, man, if I could just get him to pick this shoulder up just a little bit, the whole rest of my pattern is going to be good. But if it stays there, we're going to suck. So I'm going to try to fix it one-handed. And then if I can't fix it, I'll break down to two-handed and I'm going to go back one-handed again. That's why that swapping back and forth is so important. I want to be able to move every body part, fix everything one-handed.
So when you're teaching, when you teach a younger horse something new, am I understanding that it's good to exaggerate what you're asking for to get the point across of what you're asking for and then refine backwards?
And then refine it back. Yes. And the same thing holds true with my legs. Let's say I'm teaching one to move her hind end. I might put my leg way back here just to make it plain that it's not here, it's back here, it's something different. And then as the horse develops, I'm going to refine that cue a little closer together so my leg don't have to move as far.
What's just on hammer? What's the difference between in inches? I'm sure it is between asking him to move the shoulders and asking him to move the hind end.
Yeah, and it's even probably closer than that because let me get him walking. He's gonna work better if I'm moving. So I'll come around and I'll ask him to move his shoulders first with my right leg over by the camera. Right now, my legs are just kind of in middle neutral position. And basically what I'm going to do, ask him to move his shoulders. Basically, I didn't move it forward very much. I'll come around and do it again. I turned my foot is really all it was. It was here and I turned it and pushed. So I'll come here. I'm going to turn and push. You see where my foot is?
Yep.
So I really didn't slide my leg forward any. I just turned it. I went from here to here.
And talk about your hands. How far did they move?
Yeah,
Now we're talking refined horse
probably
now.
that much on him.
Yeah.
Not very much. It's all refined down quiet because I'm working on building a clean, quiet score. When you're being judged, especially in reining, rule A general says a reined horse should be willingly guided with little or no apparent resistance. So if I'm cueing out here, if I have my hand out here, well, at this point, he looks resistant because he didn't steer here.
Yeah.
So I want my cues to be right here, quiet and easy.
But when you're teaching them, where is the cue at? It
could be
out here
it could
or
be
is
anywhere. So I have a 5-second rule. I'm going to move my hand should go from 0 to 100% in 5 seconds. 0 is no contact. 100%, 5 seconds shall be as hard as I can pull. And then at whatever point in there the horse gives me the answer, I'm going to release.
Okay.
So if I've come out here and I'm going to go, I'm not going to pull him, but let's say I pull and my hand is here. I've got a lot of bend. He's giving me the bend. He's giving me the maneuver. I'll release. And then what happens the next time, he's going to well, I feel that hard pull coming. Now I'm here and he's giving it to me. And he's here and he's giving it to me. And I can add a little bit of outside leg and do it with even less. So I'm going to apply as much pressure as necessary slowly so that when they give me the response, I can release that pressure.
And talk about the release. How important is the timing? And when you're in a teaching mode, think teaching mode, how exaggerated should the release be?
So when I have a greener horse, I'm really going to exaggerate the release. I'm going to throw it back. I pull, you give your head, I'm going to throw that release back. But as the horse progresses, if I keep doing that, he's going to start giving me kind of fake releases. He's going to bend his head and then expect me to bring it back. So as the horse progresses, the release becomes a lot slower. So I'll ask for something and then I'll release. I'll pull slow, I'll release slow. And that makes everything slow and smooth. And I did a video on Gus working on teaching him self-carriage. And I was doing exactly that. I'd pull my hand up, round him up, and I'd gradually put it back down. Because I showed in the video, I'd pull my hand up, I'd put it down quick, and he would kind of fall looking for the hand. But I'd hold him up, release it slow. He would hold that until he's like, oh, he's not holding me anymore. Now I'll fall. Well, then I'd pick it up again and just gradually keep asking him to hold it a little longer, a little longer. So
how old was Gus? Do you remember?
Gus is 4, I think.
Okay.
And when I got him, I think he had think he told me 60 days of riding when he came here. And now this is a pretty willing to learn horse. I think I've had him 3 months, and now I'm loping circles one-handed with him, and working on self-carriage
3 months.
in 3 months.
3 months. Yeah.
And that's where I get a lot of questions. How long do you keep them in a snaffle bit? Well, typically I only keep a horse in a snaffle bit about 3 months, but it's not 3 months of riding once a week. It's 3 months of them learning. It's not the 3 months that I'm judging it. It's where the horse advanced to, and that I'm judging. Okay, now he needs to go to a leverage bit.
Questions?
Comments. I said it's true that you can see so much now with all sorts of training methods as well. All may have some value, but you have to ride and know the horse. Whatever you do, it has to be consistent.
Yeah, it has to be consistent, and that's where it comes to. Everybody has different ways of doing things, and even if something that Dusty does that doesn't fit with me now, I'm going to remember it, because I
Tools.
might have a horse later. Hey, I remember this thing. This might work with this horse. There's never. Well, I wouldn't say never. There's almost never a right and wrong. There's some things that I wouldn't do because it just doesn't fit in my general program. But techniques, there's never a right and wrong.
But if you know it, you've got that tool in your toolbox to pull it
To go
out
back and pull
and
it out.
try it
Exactly.
and say, well, maybe it'll work. And if it doesn't, you put it back
You
in the
put it
toolbox.
back and you go try something else.
Yep.
That's right. It's horse training is an art. It's not a science. And you pick this thing. I want to work this thing today. Hey, let's try it this way. And if it works, great. If it don't, try it a different way. Maybe wait and try it a different day. I think that's where a lot of more novice riders kind of get stuck, because they're afraid of failing. They're afraid something's not going to work. They're afraid it's not going to go good. When actually, if it doesn't go good, you learn from that, and that's what makes you a better rider. And you that's what I think. You learn way more from making mistakes than you do from it working right.
Sure, the mistakes. There's a saying that you learn from experience, other people's, but at some point you got to put yourself out there to try to not make the same mistake, but to take the chance of making that same mistake and learn from it. That's how failure is the best teacher for a winner.
Yes, so true.
It
So
just
true.
is.
And get out, make mistakes. And when I first started doing these lives, I was concerned about, well, what if it doesn't go good? What happens? How am I going to handle it? And people was asking me, what you can do if the horse bucks you off or just don't work? And I said, well, we'll learn from it. We'll talk about it, and we'll both learn something from it.
Welcome to horse training.
That's horse training. That's
Yeah.
exactly, that's horse training. And if you're afraid of making a mistake, you're afraid of it not going good, you're holding back your own progression.
Yeah, you can't advance unless you go out there and are willing to fail. I'm not telling you to fail. Don't put words in my mouth. I'm not telling you to fail, but I'm telling you to put yourself out there to fail so that you can learn from it and go, yeah, well, that didn't quite work out.
You only fail if you quit trying.
That's right. That's right. And that's what failure truly is. If you're still trying, you're succeeding.
That's right.
Because you're going to advance. If you stop, that's when you fail.
That's when
a
you
great
fail.
point.
That's right. You only fail when you stop trying, because we're both learning, and horsemanship is a lifelong learning process, and there's still plenty of failures. I'm sure stuff's gonna happen. That's life. That's horse
Yes, sir.
training. Another question?
I have a horse that fumbles the lead change in the hind end. How do you get them changing smoothly?
Okay, so a horse that fumbles the lead change in the hind end, most of the time it's not a hind end problem. Most of the time it's a shoulder problem. So if you have a horse in the left bend, in the left lead, and you go to ask him to change leads, you need to change bend. And what happens if he changes bend and that new right lead that you want the new right lead, and that right shoulder falls, he's not going to change in the back end. That is almost always the problem when a horse changes in the front and not in the back. People get so focused on the back end because the back end is what's not changing, but the issue is actually in the front because the horse is leaning into what the new lead is.
What about timing? Remember we talked about yesterday when I stopped, and my timing was off when I stopped, and it caused the horse to dump on the front end.
Yeah.
Talk about the timing of when to ask for the lead change.
So you think about your horse's stride. He's coming up, he's on the ground. He's coming up, he's going forward. Coming up, going forward. I'm always going to ask for the lead change as the horse is starting the coming up, because as he's coming up, he can feel the cue, make the adjustment before the legs are going back down. If the horse is already up and the legs are going back forward, he can't swap. He's already committed to the legs going back forward. You have to ask for that as the legs are going up. And that goes whether you're asking for lead changes, transitions, upward transitions, downward transitions, stops. All of that should be asked for as the horse's back legs are starting to come up off the ground. Dusty stopped the horse yesterday, and what happened is the horse's legs were already going forward to the ground, and because they were going forward, he couldn't really get his back end up or underneath him and load himself up. So he stopped and kind of dumped on the front end. And that's what happens in all those maneuvers. If the legs are going forward, the horse is going to dump on its front end. So that's why you have to ask as the back end is coming up. When you're riding your horse, you should be able to sit there and think, when this foot stepping, this foot stepping, this foot stepping, this foot, this foot. You should be able to think about what each foot is doing as it's walking, trotting, and loping. And just spend hours doing both. Spend hours walking, thinking about the footfall, trotting, thinking about the footfall. Same thing, loping. I lope a lot. And that time, all the time that I'm loping, I'm feeling the feet. I'm feeling what the shoulders are doing. I'm feeling whether the back end is pushing. And it takes time to develop that.
How does your body help you with the timing of the footfall? And are there cues on your body? Like I remember when I first learned to lope, I was told that when you do your lope departure, whatever shoulder you feel go forward of yours is the shoulder that the horse probably led with, and so forth. How does your body help you learn those footfalls?
So in the lope, for like the lope departure, you can feel your body coming up and down, and your body is doing this movement. I'm going to ask for the departure as my body is starting to go up. When it's starting to go up, I'm going to ask for the cue. That's when I'm going to smooch. When I'm walking, I'm going to ask for the lope when the inside hind leg is striding underneath. And I can feel all that with my hips. Kick on her a little bit. She's waiting to see if you're serious.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn what gets her to go.
Outside leg push. When you feel the hip, there you go. When you feel the hip go over, it's 2 smooches. That's a mare that just kind of makes sure you really want the thing that you're asking for. You're going to have to push her forward. And so she's kind of testing him a little bit. You can ask right, and she still might not go at this point.
I'm a glutton for punishment. I like mares.
I like mares too. And
geldings are a break.
Yeah.
from the attitude. Nothing against you women now. Don't get me wrong.
I've won way more money on mares than I have geldings by like 10 times as much, because I get along with them for some reason. And
grittier?
It feels like I think they're grittier, and if they like you, they give you everything they got. And I just feel like most geldings, not all, most, I feel like I only get like 95% of what they can give me. I went to a clinic with Sean Flaherty, and the question was asked, when you're evaluating a colt to bring into your futurity program, what do you look for? And he said, if I'm looking for a stallion, they're all in a herd. I want the one that's in the back with all the marks on him that's getting beat up, because I want the wimpiest stallion out there.
Yeah.
Because if it's a dominant stallion as a yearling, he's going to start saying no early in his training. And said, but if I'm looking for a mare, I want the mare that's doing the whooping, because that grittiness I will need to carry me to where I'm going.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. And that's always stuck with me. And to me, it's always held true.
Who usually leads a herd of horses? The mare or a gelding or
It's the mare. The mare's always the herd boss. Always.
every
Out
time?
in this little group, it's my Bug that she's on. And it's always mare.
She's nice. I love this horse, and I'm still learning what makes her go.
Yeah, and she's doing the little slowdowns because of your legs
Yep.
just being a little bit inconsistent. And it doesn't take much when they're that tuned in.
She's also trying to get back over with Hammer,
Uh-huh.
and that's why I'm changing directions. Where she wants to be, if it's not where I want to be, then we're going a different direction.
Yep.
See
She's
how
a
she
fun horse.
went right.
Yeah.
I love this horse.
and this is the horse that I had the 2-year-old with the temper video on that I ended up having to take down off YouTube because I caught so much slack off of it. Because she put Raven in the hospital. She was bad.
Oh, Bug did?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Tim.
Yeah.
That's the first time you've mentioned that this morning.
First time I mentioned that. But now she's just the gentlest horse, but had to be hard on her at the time, or she would have been a dangerous horse at some point.
I got a question for you about just the general relationship. When I'm giving a lesson, I notice that a lot of the people that I give lessons to are so caught up in the lesson, they forget about the horse. I'm big about touching your horse.
Uh-huh.
It's not a petting zoo, okay? And I make that clear. But when I ask a horse to do something, and they do it, for instance, she just came around, stopped when I asked, I reached down and I pet her, and that was it, one time. I also tell them that you need to equalize the pet with the move the feet.
Very important. That's the part that people miss out on.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? You know, just touching your horse. You know,
I
tell them thank
think
you.
your horse needs to know you did the right thing. I don't touch a horse as much as a lot of people. I'm actually very allergic to horses, and I touch the horse and then get my hand up my face, I'm going to end up with all kind of allergy issues. So I actually don't touch the horse very much.
Wow.
But I do agree with you. I think you should touch a horse probably more than I do, but that's why I don't.
But equalize it with
the work. That's the part that a lot of people miss. You can't pet on them all the time and not ask them to do something. And if they do something and they do something really good, pet on them, reward them, let them know. There has to be a balance. I make a joke. That's probably not a very good joke, but I make a joke. An owner will come in the barn and they'll be loving all over their horse. And I'll say, when you leave, I got to slap him to balance that out. And it's not a very good joke.
I get it. I get it.
But I have to balance that. The horse has to, you got to reward him, but you also have to ask him to do something.
So the reward, and to me, the reward isn't always in just the release. When I'm riding, yes. But once I come to a stop, it's like when we dismount. What's the first thing we should do after we dismount?
Yeah.
Release pressure.
Really, yes.
Loosen your saddle. Touch your horse.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a SOP that I have, I guess.
And I totally agree with it. I just don't do it as much just because of my allergies.
I don't want you throwing up or
yeah. But I agree. They need to be touched and petted on, and I will pet them some, and then I go in and wash my hands later
Nice.
after I get off.
Germaphobe. Yeah.
got it.
gotcha.
I got a runny nose right now.
I do too.
He was all dusty, and I brushed him off, and my nose has been running ever since.
See what Dusty does to you?
Yeah.
Bad joke. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got.
Any more questions that we need to talk about?
What's the best way to stop anticipation in a horse? Just go opposite or what?
Okay, so the best way to stop anticipation in a horse. You want to talk about that? I think we're going to have a little bit different point of views on that.
So anticipation means you've gotten yourself into a pattern that they understand, and they're looking for the easy way out, period. Horses look for the easiest way to do something and to get it done with and get it over with. And what you've done is you've gotten yourself into a pattern that the horse has recognized, and now you've got to break that pattern. My first correction will be not a total different direction, but I'll change what we're doing. And then once I get their brain back to, okay, not anticipating, then I'll go back to what I was doing. If it persists, and a second time is persistence to me, then I'll change directions. Like I was just talking about here. She wants to go to the left. I'm going to go to the right. That's the way that I do it. It's worked pretty well, but going back to the mares and the geldings, with the mare, sometimes that doesn't work. You just need to go go the opposite direction.
Yeah. So my thing is, I want the horse to anticipate.
Okay.
Because if I'm going to do a stop and roll back, I want that horse's mind to know, hey, we're going to roll back after we stop. Because the mind knowing that that's going to come, the horse is going to get the body in the position to do the thing. But I still want the horse to wait for me to ask for that maneuver. So if I ask the horse to roll back against the wall right there, then you do it once, the next time you come to that wall, she's going to stop and she's going to be ready to roll back. So I don't totally discourage the anticipation, because the anticipation of the maneuver helps the horse get their body in the correct position. I just really reinforce, wait for me until we do the thing. So if I come around and ask for a rollback and the horse anticipates one time, well, the next time I'm going to come around and I'm going to stop, and I'm not going to ask for the rollback. Wait for me. I might sit there for 10 seconds, and then we're going to roll back and do the thing. Sometimes I'll turn the opposite way, but if I turn the opposite way too much, then I'm undoing too much of the anticipation that I need to help the horse get their body in the right position.
Is that okay? So that begs the question with me: is there a difference between teaching a show horse and wanting that anticipation, and say a ranch horse who's going to go out and work cattle, work gates, prowl cattle, things like that? Is there a difference in how you would approach that with a show horse as compared to a ranch horse?
I don't think there is, because let's say you're going to go trot over some logs laying on the ground out in the pasture. Well, that horse needs to know not just to pick his feet up, but he needs to get his body in the right place to do it. So you actually have a little bit of anticipation there already. If you don't, the horse isn't going to step higher and get that rhythm going over the logs. So no, I don't think there's difference between a show horse and a working horse. That's like, I've had horses that I've worked gates so many times. If I go up to the gate, they're not going to go up to the straight on. They're going to go sideways with gate.
Makes sense.
Just because they've done it so many times out of that anticipation of what's going to happen next. And you end up with a working horse that's actually trying to help you do the maneuver. And that's one of the things that's looked at. That's how you earn your pluses when you're showing ranch trail, that not just the horse is doing what you ask, the horse is actually looking at the obstacle like he understands it and is helping you do the obstacle.
Going and doing
the obstacle.
Because they're supposed to be willing with the least amount of guidance. Well, if they're automatically do it, you don't even have to guide them, and that's where your pluses come from.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I don't try to stop anticipation. I just try to, hey, I want you to think about this thing, but just wait for me before we actually do the thing.
So how do you balance that with a horse? I mean, just totally instead of getting around the corner and being almost to the fence and going, okay, I'm going to put my body in position. And instead, when you pass the fence and start, they're already going. Oh,
They're already gone. Let's try. I'll trot and do a rollback or two over there, and let's talk about how that works.
Okay. Does that make sense? What I'm asking?
Oh, exactly. And he knows this exercise. I think he did this exercise before he came to me. See him lock onto the wall right there.
Yes.
So now I'll come around, I'll roll back, and then the next time he's going to anticipate it. Whoa. That was my fault. So I put the leg on in the wrong place, and he leg yielded over. He side passed instead of roll back. Do that again. Come around. See how much turn I got?
Wow.
That was the anticipation that got me that turn. But I'll come around again, and I'll say, okay, I want to rake that back a little bit. So what we're going to do, well, we're going to stop. See him sucking back. He's thinking about the turn. I'm going to wait and wait and wait. He's still thinking about it. I'm going to keep waiting. Now we'll turn. See the difference in the turn?
Oh, yeah. I got okay.
So I want the anticipation. I just want you to wait on me to do it. If we're going to roll back and my body rides the rollback, hey, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it good because he knows it's coming. But if my body don't ride the maneuver, I expect you to wait on me.
So you're telling the horse, this is what we're going to do, but wait for me and we'll do it when I'm ready. If it's a minute later, if it's 10 minutes later, if it's 1 second later, put your body in position, be ready, and your mind, and then
wait for me.
Okay,
yeah.
Makes sense.
And in doing that, you're actually building a horse that'll save you. Because if you go to do a maneuver and you're out of position, then that horse has learned to wait until your body rides the maneuver. That horse is going to wait on. He's going to save you.
That's a great tip right there. That is a
Yeah.
great tip. So you don't end up on the ground.
So you don't end up on the ground. So the horse don't go the other way and you didn't ride with it.
Okay.
So that's my take on anticipation.
That's good info. That makes sense, and I never took that into consideration. Like I just stopped Bug. I may want to back up, but if I don't do it right away, if she knows it's coming, but if I don't do it right away, she's going to wait for me, but she's already got her body in position.
In that place. Her mind wasn't in it.
There we go.
So you do that same thing.
God.
Roll back into the wall.
In front of people?
And shorten your reins a little bit. And I'm going to tell you to sit deep because she knows it. So you want to roll back when her head is just coming to the wall at about a 45-degree angle. Take your right rein and point her nose and roll back. And trot out. She already started the rollback before you even got there.
I felt that too.
So go again and make her wait. Get her up close to the wall.
Yeah, she's testing me right now.
Now, if she starts to roll back, just put her right back and just sit there and wait.
Whew. Goodness.
All right, now this time just stop. Don't ask for the rollback. Oh, there you go. Straighten her up and wait. So right then, what I would do, I would just get her back to the stop and just sit there and just wait.
But still give her that.
Still give her,
In the
yeah.
end.
Let her think about the rollback. That's why I don't. Sometimes I'll make them turn the other direction, but not as much as just sit.
Okay.
See her looking right?
Yep. She's already
She's
anticipating.
thinking about it.
Yep.
But that thinking about it is what I want for a performance horse.
Okay.
All right. Now you can go ahead and roll back to the right, and then go on.
Good. See, I just added a new tool right there.
Yeah.
Seriously, that was especially, and it really cemented when she looked right. When she looked right, and I was thinking to myself, she's already going that way. And then you said it, and I went, wow. So I need to wait another bit. She's prepared for it.
She's waiting. She's just waiting on you to say, "Let's go."
But now she waited for me to go. Makes
Yep,
sense.
that's
That's
what
a
I
good
want.
tool. I will definitely use that.
And so that's how I'm kind of. That's how I do anticipation.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Any more questions? That's about it.
Just a basic comment. My experience is the lead change comes from the hind end. When your leg back is into if it's time, if engaged with your shoulder.
The lead change does come from the hind end as far as the horse is concerned, but the front of the horse has to be correct too. The shoulders need to be up and not bent. So if you're asking the horse to change from left to right, you're in a left bend for the left lead, and then for a right lead, you want to go into a right bend. What messes up is the back end will actually change, but the shoulders go right, you don't get the right bend.
Watch and I'm definitely no expert at lead changes, but watch a horse out in the pasture when they're playing and they start running around acting a fool. Watch them change leads and see how they choreograph their lead change, because sometimes the second in the herd they're running around acting a fool, they're taking the cue off of whoever's leading the charge, basically. So the lead horse might switch directions. Well, now the other horse has to switch directions, and they're going to change leads to do it. And watch how they choreograph and they set up their body. That's how I learned to do it. I'm still really rough at it.
Good. That's a good point. Really good point. So I think we're going to end there. We're actually a little over an hour. That was really fun. I enjoyed that. Thanks for doing that with me.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Tim. Tim's been a good friend, a mentor, a question answer. And again, put yourself out there. Take advantage when you get a chance to go ride with somebody better than you, who's receptive and is willing to answer the dumb questions, the smart questions, and everything in between. Because when it comes to horsemanship, there's no dumb questions. If you don't know, you don't know, and you're asking to find out. Find that person that you trust and you respect that's going to give you that answer. Not the answer you want to hear, but the answer that works and fits the situation from somebody more experienced than you. Learn from other people's experience before you go out and try it.
Yep. I really appreciate you having you here.
Tim.
A lot of time answering the questions helps me because it makes me think about the thing.
Yeah. Gets rid of that dementia, right?
Yeah, there you go. So I appreciate everybody for joining. I appreciate all your good comments and questions and interactions. Until next time, thank you for watching. That should be it.